If you've not yet watched this debate with Mark Manson versus the Manosphere, it's definitely worth a watch. Very little surprises me these days. This was really no different. I found it to be a lot of repeated rhetoric that, I mean, the Manosphere spews. It seems like they have a handful of things that they just repeat over and over again, and this was nothing more than a room full of their puppets. Now, one guy did say something at the very end that surprised and also delighted me. So we'll get to that. If you don't know who Mark Manson is, he is the author of a very well-known book called The Simple Art of Not Giving a Fuck. He has a very successful YouTube channel. I think a lot of people have, even if you haven't read the book, you've heard of the book. It created a lot of buzz, especially when it first came out. He also has done a lot of coaching of men. So he's coached men on how to speak to women, how to get dates, how to get laid, how to get a girlfriend, how to find a relationship. This isn't a new space for him. As far as I know, he's never pushed any of this really sick rhetoric that we're seeing. He does speak about, has a colored past, but he has been married, happily married for, I think, 14 years. The debate that I was sort of most interested in was this body count, because I come from an era where we didn't talk about body count. We were not asking people, what's your body count? How many bodies do you have? I've never been asked, nor have I ever asked anyone that, but it seems to be a common topic these days. So I was interested to see, will anybody say anything that I have not already heard 100 times before? Most disappointing, I would say, was this woman, and I actually felt quite sorry for her.
Okay, so personally, I do feel like a woman's body count does matter.
Why is that?
Because it's her value. I feel like if something's used, there's no value to it. It's just, I don't want to be mean, but it's dirty.
Do you believe that women have value outside of their body and their sexuality?
Of course. Yeah, of course. A woman can be smart and still sleep with a bunch of men, but why not be the whole package? Respect your body. It's your temple. It's a part of who you are, so respect it.
Well, that's interesting, actually. Why do you think it's disrespectful for a woman to sleep with multiple men?
Because you're allowing different energies onto you.
So how very sad, and to say this as gently as possible, pathetic, to think that that is what determines your value. And Mark asked her, do you think that women have any value outside of that? And she said, yeah, of course. So then why is that what is determining your worth? You think how many people you've had safe, consensual sex with is what is determining your worth? The internalized misogyny is deep with that one. And I really hope that she can seek other means to validate herself. She came off as extremely insecure to me, desperate to be validated by men, very male-centered, very pick-me energy. And I'm not saying this to put her down, but that's the reality of what we're looking at here. This is pick-me behavior. Even more threatening to women than these incel men are male-centered pick-me women. I won't personally have anything to do with them. I do not allow any pick-me women in my inner circle, because anyone like these men, who I think are extremely insecure, these women are also very insecure, and I think insecure people are dangerous. So let's hear what one of the men has to say about body count.
If you're a single man and you're meeting a woman, on the list of things that you should be concerned about, that you should be worried about, it is so low on that list that you shouldn't even think about it. You should be primarily concerned is she trustworthy? Do you communicate well? Is she fun to be around? Do you have shared values? Do you see yourselves going long-term together? What she's done in the past is a very, very tiny factor in all of those things.
Yeah, so I think that that's interesting, but I would say that I think that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that body count and sleeping around and having a lot of sexual partners and experiences actually directly relates to a lot of those traits that you mentioned. So I'm specifically thinking about a study or meta-analysis from the University of Utah, which found that the more sort of sexual history that you have, the more body counts that you have, the higher the predictability of divorces. So I think that the specific study that I'm referencing, if the woman slept with, let's say, over 10 women, is what I think it was, that cohort had by far the highest divorce rate or predictability of divorce. And I think that that's pretty intuitive, right? Like if I had a wife and you had a wife and my wife slept with 3 women and your wife slept with 40 women and, we're hanging out and let's say the pool guy comes over and he's going to open up our pool. Whose wife do you think has a higher likelihood when the pool guy's 18-pack is out? Whose wife do you think has the higher likelihood of sleeping with the pool guy? It's a little bit obvious, right?
So I don't think it's obvious that the wife who has slept with 40 people would be more likely to sleep with the pool guy, because let me turn that around for you. Somebody who is dating somebody or marrying somebody who's very sexually experienced, they have had a lot of different experiences, so they're going to have a better understanding of what they like, what they want, and so when they commit to you, they're making a much better formed commitment. And so as long as there is trust and integrity in that relationship, right? As long as you trust that your wife is being honest to you and being honest about her experiences and being honest about what she wants, there's no increased likelihood that she's going to sleep with the pool guy. And by the way, that same study that you just mentioned, what's interesting about it is that women who slept from between 3 to 9 different partners are actually less likely to get divorced than women who slept with 1 or 2 partners prior to meeting their husbands.
Okay, so I think he's getting a little bit confused on the sexes there. I believe he means men. But I just want to talk about that study because this study gets brought up a lot. Now, here's the thing. A lot of the time, these lower body counts come from those growing up with specific religious beliefs. So they also do not believe in divorce. These women marry, they are trapped. Okay, so it's really not because they weren't ruined by having safe consensual sex before marriage. It's that culturally, religiously, whatever, as much as there's different views on premarital sex, there's also strong views and opinions on divorce. You also have less experience, less life experience, less relationship experience, less to compare things to. It's this fear of comparison. It is the thief of joy. And only insecure people are worried about it. The study, there's just 1,000 ways to dispute that the findings of that study have anything to do with safe consensual sex having any sort of negative effect on men or women. So just mentioning, I need to worry about the pool boy with his 18-pack, you are insecure. If you're in a secure, loving marriage, and you are secure in yourself, you're not worried about a pool boy with an 18-pack. This whole argument is absolutely ridiculous.
Right? That the answer is the woman with 40 plus bodies. And I think that makes sense, right? They have more sexual experience. They have more things that they're using a comparison based off of. It's part of a larger social trend where we're being a little bit more flippant or we're succumbing to our hedonic.
So he mentions comparison. He has a fear of being compared to previous sexual partners. So does he just know that he's inadequate? So instead of shaming women for having sex and learning about what they like, why not improve your skills? But it's easier just to shame women, right?
Okay. So a woman's body count does not matter. If we both go to a used car lot, one car is totaled, one car has the engine blown out twice, head gasket never works, always has to be replaced. Another car has a fender bender. Which one are you taking?
Again, this car analogy, this must come from something Manosphere, because we hear this repeated over and over and over again. Women are not fucking cars, okay? Cars are objects. Women are people. So I really love what Mark does here after he finishes yapping his ridiculous comparing women to objects analogy.
I reject the analogy because it presupposes that there's something about sex that is destructive to a body. I actually think a better version of that analogy is if you just bought the first car you ever test drove, how likely are you going to be satisfied with that car versus if you go out and test drive 5, 6, 7 cars?
So I like that he doesn't really even argue that specific analogy. He just simply rejects it because it's ridiculous. I don't like that he still uses a car analogy, but I think that he does it because this guy obviously speaks about women as objects. So if he was to try to speak to this incel about women as actual people, he's not going to get it. So I'll let that go, but I didn't love that. But you can absolutely, when someone brings up something like this and it's completely ridiculous, don't even argue it. Just reject it. We're not objects, we're people. So if you want to come with an argument, don't compare it. Don't compare us to objects.
A lot of men treat body count as a proxy for trust, right? And so what I ask guys is I say, imagine 2 women. One of them is a virgin. She has 0 sexual experience.
Fender bender.
Sure, fender bender. But you catch her lying to you. She doesn't keep her word. She's unreliable. And then there's a woman who, let's say she's been with, 10 guys,
Sure.
whatever. But she's honest with you. She always shows up when she says she's going to show up. She does what she says she's going to do. She's very loving. She's very caring. She's never broken your trust once. Which one is likely to be a better partner?
The first one.
Why?
Because she's had 10 different partners. Or why she had 10 different relationships. Why haven't those worked out?
Well, you would have to ask her that and find out.
Right.
Because people are complicated and they have different life stories.
Right, so let's ask a question here. If a woman asks me, what do I do for work? How tall am I? How much do I bring in home? Why can I ask you, what's your body count? You have standards, why can I have a standard?
Standards are fine, but I think all of those things that you just listed are arbitrary standards.
I've had enough of that guy. And if you want to call that a standard, if you want to base standards on your own insecurities, go ahead. That's fine. If body count matters to you, go and find someone who also feels like body count matters and live happily ever after. But stop shaming women for having sex. Because you notice none of them are talking about men. They're just talking about women.
How you doing, man?
Ross. So a woman's body count doesn't matter. That's the claim. I would argue that it's a blanket statement. Like, I would argue that most men want a beautiful balance between experience and exclusivity. Say for like the city boys in the club, they want a girl with a high body count because they don't want an inexperienced, horrible A.
Yeah.
And people or men, they want a woman that no one's had because they don't want the homies talking about, oh, I had her too.
That just confirms what I've always believed is that everything that men do is for the approval of other men. So they could have the most amazing partner who is loyal and loving and they get along great and they have a good time together and they have an amazing sex life, and then find out that your buddy Joe knows Paul, who knows Chris, who 5 years ago slept with that girl. Why do they care? Because everything they do is for the approval of other men. Ugh.
Also, like Glenn said, I think that patterns matter too. The people that we're talking about are driven by patterns. And so that data is totally valuable based on how they're going to act when times get tough. Maybe they are disloyal sexually. Maybe that's part of their pattern.
My argument here, though, is that all this kind of pontificating of like, what does it mean if she's been with 6 guys? Or what does it mean if she's been with one guy? Like, it could mean this, it could mean that. Just fucking talk to her.
So sexual experience does not equal loyalty. And again, he's showing his insecurity because he wants her experience to match his experience, which sounds like it's quite limited. So he does not want her to have anything to compare him to. That's insecurity. Learn to become a better lover if you're that worried about it. Again, stop shaming women.
But what's being preached online is otherwise, and that's what we're seeing as far as like the fantasy side of what women consume, like women porn, is often the vampire, pirate, the 50 Shades of Grey guy. He was a jerk. So we see that. What's something we're gonna put onto ourselves to get that date, and often it works. Being that jerk gets you that first date, and if you want to be the nice guy after that, I support that, and that's something you should do.
Can I ask you maybe a somewhat personal question?
Go for it.
Have you ever watched porn that you were like, I would never actually do this?
Yeah.
Me too.
But that's
50 Shades of Grey.
I see it, but there is a correlation between the guys that are jerks in real life do land that first date.
Yeah, and then they lose the girl. And you see this happen over and over. I mean, I saw it in my line of work. Being a jerk, it kind of feigns confidence, right? Like women have a very finely tuned radar for a guy who is going to be easily pushed over by her. And so they're generally very attracted by guys who are not easily pushed over, that they have their own thing going on. They're very confident, strong in their own, they believe in themselves. They know what they're doing. They know what they're about. And so if she meets a jerk, that is a little bit of a false positive signal. He has no actual character to back that up. And so it quickly either fizzles out or it spirals into a very toxic relationship dynamic that, we've all seen before. You can convey that same lack of pushoverness without being a dick.
I love that he pointed that out because I hear this a lot online. I see it in my own comment sections all the time that women are into, BDS type pornography, and they talk about how that 50 Shades of Grey was bestseller and it was a popular movie. And okay, do we want to start talking about the type of porn that men are watching? Just because you watch something or even have a fantasy, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you actually want to play that out in real life. Some do. Some do it. Some have those types of sexual interactions. Again, it's saying women can't have fantasies. Women shouldn't enjoy sex. Women should keep themselves pure so that they are a clean hole for the man. Like, it's just so gross the way these incels speak about women. No wonder women are not interested in you. And they want to say, it's because I don't have money. It's because I'm not good looking enough. No, it's because you don't respect women. And we can sense that about you, and we don't want anything to do with you. That's why you and your hand are alone in your mommy's basement. Women are out here giving full-blown girlfriend treatment to men who are still telling them they're not even sure what they want. Listening to his problems, making time for him whenever he wants, sleeping over, supporting him, and giving him access to basically every part of your life. He's keeping things vague while you're getting attached. This is how women give up months of their life, sometimes years, to something that was never going to become a real relationship. There's a really important piece of dating advice that I think keeps getting missed. We hear all the time about what red flags to watch out for, how to spot them sooner, how to choose better. But there is very little practical instruction on how to stop becoming so invested while you're dating, and you don't even know yet what this man is offering. So I've created a practical guide and workbook that explains in detail how to actually be useless to men in early dating so that women can stop getting used by men that never had any intention of committing. It breaks down how women end up giving emotional support, constant access, physical intimacy, attention, comfort, and all of the benefits of a relationship before there even is one. And then it walks you through how to slow that down, recognize when you're overgiving, and stop trying to build a relationship with a man who is barely participating. You can get the full guide and workbook through the link in the description. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you actually want to play that out in real life. Some do. Some do it. Some have those types of sexual interactions. Again, it's saying women can't have fantasies. Women shouldn't enjoy sex. Women should keep themselves pure so that they are a clean whole for the man. Like, it's just so gross the way these incels speak about women. No wonder women are not interested in you, and they want to say it's because I don't have money. It's because I'm not good looking enough. No, it's because you don't respect women. And we can sense that about you, and we don't want anything to do with you. That's why you and your hand are alone in your mommy's basement.
What are some of the extreme views?
I would say anything that is intentionally demeaning the fundamental value of a woman.
Could you give me an example?
Well, the body count example.
But can you understand how there is a correlation between being willing to take a lot of dick from a lot of different people and not thinking highly of yourself?
Perhaps, I don't know.
So I don't think that you're lowering the quality of a woman by saying like, hey, just so you know, it's probably not the best thing for you to.
But that could be true for men as well.
Men should not be taking dick from a lot of strangers. I agree. I agree. Both genders.
It's true for straight men as well, taking lots of vagina as well. It's generally, low self-esteem correlates very strongly with sexual partners overall.
Totally agree.
Yes.
I think it's worse.
But that doesn't make them worse people. The same way, like, somebody with low self-esteem is more likely to abuse alcohol or drugs.
Totally.
Like, doesn't make them a bad person.
But it's not good. And also, taking dick is a little bit worse than giving it.
First of all, why is he speaking about women in terms of taking dick? No, they're having consensual sex that they are enjoying, hopefully. I'm sure they're not doing it again with that person if they're not enjoying it. I hope not. But anyway, you want to convince me that you have any respect for women, or that you perhaps don't hate women. Please try to convince me of that when you speak about women in terms of taking dick, taking a lot of dick. And dude, how many times did you say dick? Why don't you just admit that you can't stop thinking about dick? I am pretty convinced that these ones that are obsessed with body count are obsessed with dick. That's what they think. They're thinking about other men's penises all day long, every day. Why are you speaking to a woman about what she did in the past? Because you want to think about penis? That's the only thing really that's logical. Because look at them. That's all they're talking about. It's all they talk about is other men's penises. Good God. Convince me that you don't want to be with men. Women are allowed to have sex. Oh, it doesn't make them dishonest. It doesn't make them bad partners. It doesn't make them bad communicators. It doesn't make them irresponsible. I can't remember if someone did mention, I know that the woman mentioned that it's dirty. It's dirty. So she, like, you have some real issues. You have some issues going on up here with sex. If you are thinking of it as if you have sex, you're dirty. But I don't know if anyone brought it up about, higher body count, correlating in some way to being higher risk, which you can have sex one time and get an STI. So really, what you should be doing if you're concerned is getting tested. Get tested. Ask your partner to get tested. And use condoms and stay safe. Don't think that, they've only had one or two partners, so they're safe, because you'll end up with an STI. Honestly, there was one other thing that I wanted to go over. Oh, so funny. One of the topics was porn has done more damage to men than feminism has. They really need to look up the definition of feminism. because the manosphere has turned feminism into like this bad word. Like it's bad to be a feminist. And the thing is that feminism is wanting equality, wanting men and women to be viewed as equal, wanting men and women to have equal rights and equal opportunity, for men and women to be paid, men and women who are doing the same job to get paid the same. What is wrong with this? I mean, now a lot of women are saying, no, at this point, equality isn't even going to cut it for us. But anyway, that does not change the definition of feminism. You don't get to just put new meaning on it. And you don't get to just say because women are choosing to have prioritized careers, not get married, not center men, that all of a sudden that is women are evil. That's feminism and that's women are evil. No, that's not. That's you not getting what you feel entitled to. You're not entitled to women because they're fucking people with thoughts and feelings and wants and needs of their own. They don't exist to serve you. That's what your hand is for, okay? So stop treating women like that and then expecting us to want to have anything to do with you. I hear a lot of crazy comments in my comment section about feminism and how, oh, you want to be equal, so now we can hit you? Oh, you want to be equal? Don't expect for me to pay for anything. Don't expect men to hold the door open. Don't expect if you're on the side of the road with a flat tire that we're going to help you. Don't ask men for anything. Don't take advantage of any of the things that, men have built. Okay, then don't take advantage of any of the things that women have built. That means that's the end of you because we're the ones that gave you life. So be careful what you wish for. Also, equality doesn't mean the same. So we know generally speaking, it's a generalization, that men and women bring different qualities, that we possess different qualities, we have different strengths, generally speaking. There's nothing wrong with that. So equal is not the same. I can have $2 and you can have $2, but maybe you have a $2 bill and I have 8 quarters. It's equal. It's not the same, but it's equal. Is that hard to understand? I don't think so. So let's hear what one of these morons has to say about feminism that's just completely ridiculous. Who needs a good giggle?
Because I agree with you that, Elizabeth Cady Stanton's Declaration of Sentiments did not create the porn problem that we have today. So big into first wave and then even some of those elements of second wave feminism that secured rights and freedoms. I think that the problem is when you get to these third and fourth waves, we start to get this demoralization of men. We start to get this narrative that patriarchy is this thing, this overarching thing in society, and that men are the primary sources of everything that's wrong with our culture. And I think that you see a major withdrawal there. What's interesting or maybe a little bit ironic about the claim is that I think that we're kind of looking at two things that are feeding into each other. I think modern feminism, gender feminism is by and large responsible or contributing to a lot of the loneliness and withdrawal that we see, which is causing that uptick in pornography, which you and I are in major agreement, totally unhelpful and detrimental to society and men in general.
You had me up until those last few sentences. I think we agreed on everything up until there. I agree a lot of these statements about young boys being told that they are just inherently problematic for existing, right? Like these are all, we're on the same page there. Like that, those things just are terrible narratives to have in the culture. Terrible. That said, I personally don't think they are widespread enough or ubiquitous enough to really point at them and say, that's the problem. Because when you look at the problems that have been affecting young men and boys, they go back decades. They go back to the 80s and 90s before any of this stuff started. So I think it's a little bit of a red herring. I think it's a lot of political talking points that get a lot of attention, right? It's like we hear about something crazy happening in elementary school. Everybody gets riled up and freaked out. And we're like, that's the problem. And it's not. That's one school. It's a minority case. It's something that hasn't been ubiquitous for more than a few years. Whereas there are like real structural problems and issues that have been going on for decades that have been harming young men that just never get talked about. And I feel like pornography is one of the larger ones.
Feminism is ruining culture and society. That doesn't mean all women are, but it does mean feminism is. And I think it's an issue to conflate the idea of like, oh, women, women, versus the philosophy of feminism. Because you could have male feminists who I think are often more destructive for culture than female feminists are.
It's pretty interesting to me that for him, feminism is ruining the world. To him, women being equal and having equal rights, it's ruining his life. What damage is it causing? Seeing women as equal, autonomous, human fucking beings is damaging to them? Please crawl back under whatever rock you just came out from under. It's crazy, and they do talk about how the Manosphere tells them, and they believe it, that women are the cause of all of their problems. The reason that they're unhappy is because of women. The reason that they are lonely is because of women. The reason that they're failing is because of women. The reason they're unsuccessful is because of women. Blame women. Blame feminism. Take zero accountability for your own life. Everything is the fault of women. Women only want the top 2% of men. Women are bad. Women are evil. Women are selfish, which is a common one that we hear now. So when women want to prioritize their careers, maybe choose not to have children at all, maybe choose not to get married, they are labeled as selfish. Yet when men do it, they're just very career focused. They're very driven. They just have a lot of ambition. They're just chasing after their dreams and their goals. When women do it, we're just selfish. Now, I did want to talk about what this one guy, he did speak, he did debate twice actually, and he got the final debate as well, where I think he got to pick the topic. I'm not sure, but anyway, at the end, he said something that I thought was very interesting.
I honestly think that this was such a cringe fest, frankly. I'm silently freaking out. I really don't want to be associated with most of the things that were said. It's so hard because a lot of these guys, I want to be I want to support them, but they're just so radioactive.
And I think that's really valid. I don't know if he knew what he was signing up for when he went into that debate. I don't think he anticipated quite the level of diabolical that it was. Yeah, I would have been embarrassed to be a part of it as well. I don't blame him for being embarrassed about it. And also recognizing, like, I would like to support these guys because I can see that they're struggling, and I do see that men are struggling. I honestly feel like the worst thing that an insecure, struggling guy, teenager, grown man, whatever, can do is turn to the Manosphere for help, because it is literally poisoning their minds and ensuring they are going to be alone. These guys are making money off of them. And Mark talks about that as well. He does bring that up, how they are poisoning the minds of these young, impressionable boys and insecure men. It's easy to manipulate. And one of them argued that that's the responsibility of the man. Like, if you choose to get involved in these pyramid schemes and all this crap that these guys are making money off of, that's on you. And there is a level of that, but there is also a responsibility to not manipulate people into things, to get them to spend their money and to ruin their lives. How many of these men could have really truly worked on themselves or could work on themselves and become good men and make good partners? This is what really irritates me. So on my platform, I speak to women about self-confidence, trusting yourself, breaking down social conditioning. We are, as women, we are so socially conditioned. Men are socially conditioned as well, but I'm speaking to women. So that's why I talk about that. My social media page is my channel. Really, it's geared toward women. So that's who I'm talking to. I talk about how to move slowly in relationships to avoid getting sucked into something toxic, to avoid being manipulated, to avoid being used, to how to get out of abusive relationships. And men flood the comment section saying, you are keeping women single. Fuck that. I'm keeping women safe. Okay? When a healthy man comes along and makes her feel safe, she doesn't have to keep her guard up when she has moved slowly, got to know him without love bombing and rushing past things and getting attached before you know who someone is. If you're worried about that, if you're worried about women moving slowly so that they don't get attached before they see who you are, you know you're a bad guy. That isn't keeping women single. That is keeping women safe. There are women on my page who have healthy relationships. They're not bothered by it. There are men who come to my page who are healthy men. They are not bothered by any of the things that I'm saying. I would rather that women are single than in toxic, abusive relationships. The Manosphere is teaching toxicity. Please talk to your sons, because teenage boys are consuming this content. They are looking up to these men who are walking around with lots of attractive women on their arms. They have money. They're driving fancy cars. They live in fancy homes. They are traveling. They're on private jets. They're looking up to these men who are poisoning their minds. We need to talk to our boys. For the men that are already grown, you're on your own. Fix your own problems. Don't look at women to fix you. Okay? Take some fucking accountability. But for our sons, we need to speak to them. We need to protect our sons from this sick toxicity. Check out the full debate. I'll link it in the description. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.